Welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel, where today we are playing around with the Tuggy Tugboat motorized sandbox again. Now this thing has been through several iterations. I built this last year out of a Little Tyke sandbox, intending for me to drive around the Mississippi River on it. Then in a follow-up video, the Minnesota DNR said, no, you can't do that. This is not a legal boat. We will not let you register that. And if you have a motor on this boat, no matter how short it is, you have to register it. So my dreams of Tuggy Tugboat were shattered, at least until this year, when we modified it to be a radio-controlled boat. So now, Tuggy Sandbox is not a manned watercraft. It is a radio-controlled toy. It just happens to be a fairly large radio-controlled toy with a 12-volt car battery, a trolling motor. This video is sponsored by EcoFlow, who sent me 2 of these lithium-ion batteries for this project. Now, I have been running Tuggy on regular old lead-acid batteries, and those work okay, but the lifespan isn't great. They start to lose power after a while, and the ones I was using are more car batteries than deep cycle, so they aren't really intended for long-term use with a trolling motor. Lithium-ion batteries should perform a lot better. So these are the EcoFlow 12-volt 100 amp hour LifePo batteries, and these are specifically designed for trolling motors, so this should be perfect for running Tuggy around. While a single battery will run the trolling motor just fine, it's nice to have a second one for longer trips so we can swap out to a fully charged battery. They also have a built-in battery management system which helps with charging, so if we charge these from an alternator or a regular old lead-acid battery charger, we don't have to worry as much about overcharging or temperature issues. These come with a manual that's pretty straightforward. There's not really anything complicated about these batteries. They're just basically a drop-in replacement for your lead-acid deep cycle 12-volt battery. Now these are about the same size and form factor of a regular car battery, but they offer about twice the capacity and a lot longer lifespan, so I'm really looking forward to using these. And some other accessories here, including the pilot, who I affectionately call my dumpster son, Little Jimmy or Little Billy or Little Bobby. I can never remember his name, but I found him in a dumpster at work. Today I'm hoping to give Tuggy an overall upgrade, do some improvements, beef up all the wiring on that, and make everything more reliable and just generally better. So this was Tuggy's old brain, and I'm pretty sure that I've burned out most of the relays in here by running too much current through them. The radio receiver is probably fine, the voltage gauge might be fine, these switches are fine, but we're going to need to rip this apart, and I think we need a bigger enclosure. The reason for that is I have bigger and beefier relays and electronic speed controllers, so these are going to go in there in place of the stuff I had. Hopefully the speed controller is going to let me actually control the throttle on Tuggy versus before I basically just had on and off. So that wasn't the best for driving a boat around. You kind of want some kind of throttle. One other mild annoyance here, the new equipment all uses, I think, a standard RC plug. And the old receiver, since it's from the 1970s, uses the reverse of that. So we have to chop all these off and solder them onto the new connectors. But first up, I need to remember how I wired these relays for the steering, because I basically had to do 4 relays. One would turn on one side and off the other side. The other would turn... It basically, I'm switching one pair of wires from positive to negative, and it gets kind of complicated. There's probably a better way to do that, but I'm doing it with 4 relays. Since these bigger relays and the bigger speed controller won't fit in the little Axeman box, I went back to Axeman Surplus and I got a bigger waterproof box. So hopefully they'll fit in this plastic ammo container. Alright, so this speed controller seems a little bit inconsistent. When I turn on the remote, it doesn't seem to connect right away. It sits there and flashes and nothing really happens, and I have to wiggle the stick a few times, and eventually it seems like it boots up or does something. I don't know if I fully trust this thing, but we are getting power to the main drive motor. Alright, Tuggy's new and improved brain should be ready to go. We'll turn that on. Alright, we have steering. We have throttle. And we even have reverse. And I know you want to hear it toot, but it is a little too early in the morning for that nonsense, so we are going to let the neighbors sleep in, and we will test this fully out on the water. So we're gonna have a train of barges. So I'm gonna attach both kayaks to Tuggy, or maybe one kayak to the other kayak. Oh, I just lost my watch. Well, that was an expensive trip just there. All right, note to self, don't wear Fitbit on the lake. Pops right off. So a new feature of Tuggy 3.0, not only does it go forward, it also does reverse this time. You're gonna reverse it right into us. Oops. Anyway, as I was saying, this way if I fall in the water, which I just about did, then it releases you on your kayak, and then you don't get dragged down with me. All right, let's do some tugging. Like a good place to test Tuggy's official signaling device. All right, let's take a quick look at Tuggy now that we've gone halfway across the lake and make sure nothing's on fire, because at this point last time Tuggy was on fire a little bit. So yeah, the electronics box seems to not be on fire. It's always a plus. Trolling motor is working pretty well. I don't know if I can even see it under there. And our new battery is working great. It is giving us, I think, even more power than the regular old lead acid. Oh, he's definitely getting slow. The battery's starting to die. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think that's the low battery warning. All right, Tuggy's starting to run out of power. We've got the low battery horn reset there, so we'll try to bring him home before he totally dies. We finally ran that EcoFlow battery down after just about an hour of continual use, so that's pretty good. We got maximum speed towing 2 kayaks for an hour. I'm happy with that. Alright, well that's a wrap for this video. We had a great time out on the lake with Tuggy Tugboat and little Jimmy the zombie child here. And those EcoFlow batteries worked great, and it was really nice to have 2 of them because we did use up the first one after an hour of full speed tuggying, full power towing 2 kayaks, so it was nice to have the second one to fall back on. I also discovered a new feature. When the battery gets low, it actually resets my electronics box there and honks the horn a little bit. So I didn't plan on that. It's just kind of an artifact of how I've wired up my electronics. But it's a really nice feature to have. When it gives you a couple little tiny honks, you know, the battery's dead. It's time for a new one. And those EcoFlow batteries actually keep giving you basically full power right until the end. So they don't slowly drop off until they're almost empty. And then you start to notice a little bit of performance drop on the motor. But until that, for the rest of the hour of tugging around, they were giving us basically full output, full thrust on the trolling motor. So thank you again to EcoFlow for sending me their 12-volt trolling motor batteries. These things are great. I would recommend them. I've got a bunch of other electric boat projects in the works. In fact, I just picked up 2 more old trolling motors that I'm hoping to use for a future project. Maybe not this year because it's now October, but either way, I'm definitely going to be keeping the EcoFlow batteries, and I'm going to be using them for future boat projects. We will also try to do some more things with Tuggy Tugboat here, but we might put them away for the season. Again, I don't know. It depends how the weather goes and how much free time I have. We might get this out one more time this year, but it remains to be seen. So if you want to see that, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss it, and then go back and check out my earlier videos on Tuggy Tugboat when I tried to actually ride it around myself as a boat, and then was told by the DNR that I can't do that, so we had to have little Johnny here ride it instead. I still think the DNR is full of it, but at least it inspired me to build this fun, cool remote control toy. Thanks to everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.